Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Juan Carlos Brando, and I'm introducing Miss Margaret W. Wong, who has been working in the immigration field for over 40 years. So today is Thursday. It's already noon. So I hope everybody is enjoying their lunch while we are talking about immigration. And we know there's a lot of people that have immigration concerns, a lot of questions, many concerns, especially now that we are having so many changes day by day. So it's for me a pleasure to have Ms. Wong with us today. Just talking about immigration. How are you doing today, Ms. Wong?
I'm good, and thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today and for letting us have all the information that we will need to explain to people because people are really concerned about the last changes in the immigration law. So if you have any questions, please give us a call 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984, or you can also text us through our Facebook Live, and Ms. Wong will answer your questions right now. So, Ms. Wong, this week we had one change about the TPS and about, I think, is the advanced parole or the re-entry rule. Can
Yes,
you explain exactly what it is?
yes. TPS is a temporary protected status, especially for El Salvadorians. It used to be Haitians when there was a big problem there, and different countries have TPS, but right now really applies to the El Salvadorians and the old Guatemalans because of the Hurricane Mitch. I think it's Guatemala. So, but then after Hurricane Mitch, which was in the 90s, that people are still here, they still have TPS. But aside from that, Guatemalans, no more TPS. So, per, as of late last week,
Yes.
there's a AAU now is saying that you cannot use the advance parole, which is a big piece of paper, leave the country and come
Okay.
back, and now file for adjustment of status. That rule started after August 20th. So if you left the country and come back before August 20th, you could still use that parole to apply for status. But if you left the country after August 20th, or only apply for the parole now and leave later, you could still leave and come back, but you could not use it for adjustment of status purposes. That started last week. And AAU is a branch of Homeland Security, which is a branch of USCIS. So AAU is run by CIS. CIS is run by Homeland Security. Homeland Security runs both ICE, CBP, and CIS.
Okay, so Ms. Wong, regarding to this change, what is the most important thing? So, if I came to the United States in 1999, I have a son or a daughter that is going to turn 21. Can they still apply for me? And how would be that process? What is the change in that kind of process?
Sure. It depends on where you live. If you live in the Sixth Circuit and the Ninth Circuit, the Ninth Circuit, it's places like California, Alaska. That's a Ninth Circuit place. Sixth Circuit is Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So if you live in these two circuits, you don't need a parole to adjust status because our circuit court judges said that anytime you got TPS is considered an admission. Anybody who still lived in New York, Boston, anywhere else, you need that parole or leaving and coming back as an admission, inspection, or paroled. So, how does it affect people now who have a child who just turned 21? So, if that person lives in anywhere but the Sixth and Ninth Circuit, if they never left the country, they could not get a green card. If they leave the country and come back on parole and not illegally before August 20th, they could still get a green card. If they leave the country after August 20th and or got the parole and left after that, they still cannot get a green card. That's how it's affecting them.
And for how long would they have to leave the country if this is the
One day,
case?
one day. It's sort of
Only one
stupid.
day.
It's like making the money.
Wow, that's very sad. So, well, there's a lot of other questions that we are receiving right now through our Facebook Live. So, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sending your questions, and we're going to start with these several questions that we are having right now. So, Lucia is asking this question, and she says she has been studying in a Bible school in her country. She is from Colombia, and she wants to come to the United States with a pastor that is sponsoring her. She wants to know how long would it take for her to come to the U.S.
Okay, there are two ways to come as a religious worker. You either come as a, that's when the parallel track comes in. You either come as a non-immigrant visa, or you can come as an immigrant visa. The immigrant visa is what we call the 360. And then after the 360 is approved, we'll have to pay the $120 or $325 for the IV rate. And then after we pay, she can transfer with her whole family to America as a minister or as a 360 person. But on the facts of the case, it seemed like she's a student, she's very young, and she's not a pastor yet. So the way to do it is come as a non-immigrant. Non-immigrant, there are two ways to come as a religious worker. One, you come on a B1 status. That means you're coming to give a speech, give a seminar, to learn about American religious organizations and go back, because that's a non-immigrant. Or you file the I-129, what we call the religious worker visa. All right. On the religious worker visa, I talked about public charge. You know how I talked about how I-129, there's no more public charge that applies to this case. But of course, she's not in a public charge, well, she's not even here. So you don't need to answer any questions on public charge. Then in olden days, I-129 takes 2 or 3 months, but now because all religious worker cases, immigration, which is USCIS, will send someone to come investigate the church or to audit, to do a church visit, to make sure there's a church. Because a lot of people, what they do is they rent room. They think I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Hare Krishna, I'm, whatever I am, but there's really no church. It's like one room. So now, actually all churches, immigration will come and visit to make sure it's a real church. If you say you're a church choir, there should be a choir there and stuff like that. So the whole process normally takes about 7 to 8 months, maybe 6 nowadays, at least 7 or 8 months, because it's with the virus and stuff. Then we cable our visa approval back home to Colombia, and then she'll have to go have the visa step. Now, to sign the visa, you need the DS-160, and then you also need a further confirmation from the pastor that the church really is sponsoring her. I would also recommend, instead of just the pastor, pastor, we're all do-gooders. I mean, most people in the religious, I just want to help my friend. I have a church parishioner whose daughter wants to come to America. So I always recommend people to maybe have the board of directors of the church sign that job confirmation letter, just so it's real, and notarize it. And now she goes and stamp the passport. Now, another way to do it, like I said earlier, is just to do the B1 visa, but get the church letter, confirm she's only coming. We go to the church basement to do 3 seminars, maybe conduct a choir to learn some Colombian songs. That's what we call a B1. So it's a hybrid of a B1
Yeah.
to come for church meetings.
That's interesting, Ms. Wong, because we know there's a lot of processes that we need to have. How long would this process take?
The B1, B2 takes 3 or 4 weeks. First, you file the DS-160. You on the internet, you send it out. They'll tell you where to pay the fee. The fee is about $120, $160, $180. There's a bank that they want. In the olden days, we just bring a money order in, but now because of theft, so they prefer the U.S. Department of Treasury directly get all those money. Once you have a fee bill paid and it's confirmed, then American Embassy would give you an interview. Normally, B1, B2 is harder than R1. because R1 at least it was pre-approved, and then it's cabled back home to get the visa stamp. B1, B2, most of the time they don't believe it because they feel churches are very much like do-gooders. Also, B1, B2, you cannot pay, but R1 you have to pay at least living wages, living. Not I'm not minimum living.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And well, I just want to encourage everyone to send their questions, and we will be asking Ms. Wong your question, just making sure that you will have an answer. So, last show, Ms. Wong, we had a person that sent a question and we couldn't answer. So, let me find this question because I don't want to disappoint this person again. It could be my fault that I didn't see that question. So let me find it. This person is also asking for today's show because they have some questions. Um, okay, so this is the question. I received my waiver in the United States and I had to travel to the appointment in Ciudad Juarez. But then I got stuck here because I couldn't return to the US. Is there something we can do to push the case? Because apparently they just have stopped all the immigration processes.
Right, because of the President Trump's directive saying that unless you're a certain category, they will not stamp your stamp. And that's why I sort of feel bad. Like lottery, they would not let people come back. So a lot of people go out or wait in home country to, the lottery. There's a 55,000 diversity visa. Most of them cannot come back because they are not stamped. Family four siblings visa, they're not stamped until end of December. We have been trying to get congressional because we have wives overseas trying to come here because they're pregnant. Actually, we just had a case of babies born, but she could not come. So now we have to pay additional money to the American embassy to make sure the baby gets a green card and to come with the mother. It's sort of sad. But right now, they're not like, it's not like at least years ago, you sort of make them feel sorry for you. It's a high risk pregnancy. My husband is a pastor here. The whole family is here. I mean, my mother is there. Now there's no human. I mean, they can come, they can come. But there may be other reasons why this person is stuck because right now, Cedar Juarez, they're not really working very hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, yeah, that's true. So we have offices in 9 cities of the United States, and that doesn't mean that we cannot take care of your case if you are in Texas or if you are in a different city. So offices are in Atlanta, Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Memphis, Minneapolis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216 279 3984. 216-279-3984. You can send us your question, or if you have another question that you want to text to us, you can WhatsApp 678-650-1248, 678-650-1248, and that's the phone number that you can send a text message or WhatsApp message, and we will be answering your questions. Okay, so this next question is such a large question, Ms. Wong, a long question, so I'm gonna put it on the screen. I'm newly married to an American citizen. We have a new joint bank account, but it's still under my maiden name because I don't have any ID that has my married name because I'm new to this country. Marriage certificate, joint bank account, and affidavit of BONA, of bona fide marriage from my mom are the only proof that we have. Would this be a strong case, or should we wait until I get more established here before my husband files the I
No, no,
130?
no. Don't wait. Don't wait. File it now because the whole thing, these are just, they look at totality of circumstances. And I'm in the 70s when I first started doing immigration work. The presumption is always, how come you didn't change your name? So my answer to the officers is that why should I change my name? Because most people don't change their names in certain cultures, like Chinese, we will add a husband's name, but it doesn't mean we change our name. So I'm practically one of the first female lawyer who sort of explained to immigration there's no reason. So don't wait. I think you'll be fine. Uh, Most people don't even change their names because they want to go with a passport name, and most passports are always under your maiden name until you change your last name. So don't worry about it. I would file it.
Okay, don't worry. So please call Miss Wong, and she will be able to help you. Also, Miss Wong, when a person is waiting for the I-485, can they still apply for the working authorization?
100%. So there's two things you file when you do adjustment of status. Of course, you don't need the 944 anyway. You look at parallel track again. On the one hand, what's my basis? There's only 4 visa petitions. You have the I-130, which is family, I-140, which is employment-based, 526, which is the investor, the 900,000 investment, and the 360, which is a religious worker, the widower case. That's only 4. So you always need that visa petition. Now you file adjustment of status, which is the 485. So how do I prove I'm eligible to adjust? First, you need the 485 forms. My petitioner, who is my spouse probably, or my sisters or my brothers, or my parents, have to file the 864. Then I have to attach my birth certificate. If it's a marriage case and I was divorced, I need my divorce. So you think of eligibility, all right? I have no criminal records, or I have 1 DUI, you need to attach that. That's the basis of adjustment of status. On the I-130, I need to attach bona fideness. That's the question from the prior lady, is to say, how do I prove it's a real marriage? I prove it by joint bank accounts, but it doesn't mean you have to change your name, or it doesn't mean you have to change your first married name to the second married name, because I have some clients who stopped using a maiden name 20 years ago, was divorced 10 years ago, has always kept the first husband's name. You don't have to change that name also, all right? But then you, in this case, you need 2 divorce certificates. So that's a bona fides of the I-130. Or if that's my illegitimate child. So, for example, my mother never married my father, and my mother is a citizen. Absolutely no problem, because I came from my mother's womb and it's her egg. But if my father is never married the mother, and the father's a citizen, now we have a problem. So he'll have to legitimize you. So I need the legitimization according to country. So, for example, I'm Mexican. My name is my father's name is on my birth cert itself is legitimization. Otherwise, you can't put the name on there. Or you have to prove the emotional support, the loving support. He comes home to visit me every year. Even though he married a second. So these are things. So I went 30, 45.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wong. So we have this question. I think we answered this before, but apparently this person couldn't um, hear the answer, and that's why is sending again the question. Hello, I have a question for the session. Me and my opposite sex partner are currently without status. Partner came on B1, B2 and overstayed. We are both over age of 40 and don't have any immediate family in the US. We have been suggested that having a baby could help our case. My question is, will it make a difference if the baby is had through a surrogate? Our partners has been here since August 2000 and has I-94. I came here in April 2003, but I don't have an I-94.
So if you have an I-94, that means you're eligible to adjust. So even if you have a baby, you have to wait for the baby to the 21. Surrogate babies are okay as long as it's your baby. But if you're not ready and you're already in the 40s and you're just having a surrogate baby just to help you, I think that's sort of silly, because it does take 21 years for the baby to grow up, and then sponsor the one with the I-94, and then the one with the I-94 could sponsor you who doesn't have I-94. So the one with the I-94 have to give you the 601A. The child who will be over 21 can do the A64 and I-1. I think that's sort of silly.
Yes, and could be already 61 or 62 by the time that they get some relief, maybe, Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Yeah, so it would be too long to wait. So we have another question. It says, I come from Mexico and I have a L1B visa. I arrived to the US 6 months ago. And my question is, do I need to complete 5 years of renewal for L1B before a green card, or how
No.
many years do I need to wait to apply for a green card
You
from
can
now?
apply for green card now because you're L1B. You need a perm. Perm, knowing you came in L1B, which is awesome. L1A, you don't need a perm. You go straight through I-140. Remember, I told you, anytime you're in status, there's a parallel track. On the one hand, you do the I-140. On the other hand, you do the 45, because Mexico, it's great because it's all chargeability. It's not like India and China, you have to wait 10 years, 5 years for green card. So I would do it right away. But because you're L1B, you're specialized knowledge, you need to do the perm. Perm, it takes 5 months for advertising. Um, 5 months for advertising. I'm sorry, 5 months for prevailing wage, 89 days to 180 days for advertising. And now you filed a perm without an audit. It should be approved in 2 or 3 months, with the audit approved 6 months. So the filing date is a priority date. And once it's approved, you file the I-140, which is the same as the L1A now, and file the 485. So do it now. Don't wait for 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you very much, Miss Wong. Don't wait for more time. You have a very special visa, and please contact Miss Wong. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984, or you can send us a WhatsApp message and we can answer many other questions that you may have. So thank you very much for that answer, Miss Wong. We have another question, and this is, I live in the United Kingdom and I work for a very important banking company, and I have been thinking about a transfer to the United States because all my family is there. Would this be possible, and what kind of visa would I need?
Yes. He did not say what country he's from. As long as he's not,
England.
oh, he's from England, but we didn't know where he's born. So, if assuming he's from England, he's born in England, then I would come as a L1A because that is a transfer visa. The salary should be more than 85,000. You should get the green card in 1.5 years. But if you're born in India or China, you need to come on an L1A. But the green card would still take about 3 to 4 years. But for India, it still take 8 years. Yeah. So when it comes to green card, they look at place of birth. When they come, uh, when you come on a non-immigrant, they look at nationality. Like, for example, I'm born in China, but I carry a Argentinian passport. I could still do an e-visa or something like
Okay,
that.
let's say, for example, this is a Venezuelan person is texting here. Would it work?
Yes, Venezuela is a very high. Yeah, right. Because yeah, Venezuela is good. Haha.
Okay. Thank you very
Mhm.
much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And just reminding everyone that Ms. Wong has been working in the immigration field for over 40 years. She was awarded just this week, Ms. Wong, that you received a very important award in Cleveland. So, congratulations, and thank you for letting us be part of your team. It's like you always say, we don't mean that you will have a big head, and we know you don't, because you have been working and accompanying a lot of people in the struggles of this country, and you always try to encourage people to move on, to keep moving, to just overcome the circumstances, the situations, and everything. And that's such an inspiration for a lot of people that can know you. So, congratulations, Ms. Wong, and thank you for sharing all your experience with us.
Thank you. I always advise our young people in our law firm, my friends, don't have a big head, because once you have a big head, then you forget where you come from. And it's hard. Once you forget who you are, where you come from, it's not good. It really is not good.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it's a very good phrase that, or a very good sentence. What you just mentioned, don't have a big head, because that makes you forget where you come from. That's amazing. So another question that is coming through our Facebook, and just don't forget that you can contact Ms. Wong through 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. And this next question is, I have I came to the United States in December this last year, 2019, and I suffered a violent robbery in Mexico, but I am from Venezuela. I left my country, Venezuela, in 2002, and I have been living there for almost 18 years. But then, when I was robbed and pointed with a gun in Mexico, I decided that I didn't want to stay there anymore. Would this be a good asylum case, or does it affect my situation that I am not from Mexico?
Good. That's a good question. I wish you were robbed and gun pointed in America, because then we have a U visa. What is a U visa? U visa things. Number one, I was injured, or I have a lot of psychological damage. Second thing is I'm collaborating with the police, and I'm helping police to solve the crime so future people doesn't get hurt. All right. And then the third thing is I reported the crime, and there is a crime. It's not like there's a lot of people who hire some dude and beat them up. Now they file U visa, and that's not good.
Yeah.
So these are but then the suffering is in Mexico. Mexico, it has been very violent in the last few years because of the poverty, whatever. So you have, and the question of if it's a good asylum claim, if it's a random act of violence. So, for example, in Cleveland, our crime rate is very high. It doesn't mean I can go somewhere and get asylum. See, because uh, it's if a city is violent, doesn't mean you could, come to America and get asylum. Asylum is a fear of five things: nationality, race, religion, member of a special group, and also political opinion. You have to have the connection between these five grounds with the harm you suffered. President Trump also came up with sexual violence is not violence. So, for example, you have been abused by your stepfather, by your uncle. If there's no nexus to the harm and the fear, it's not asylum. All right. So, family violence. So, for my uncle was murdered by a gang member, and could I get asylum just because your uncle, who has the same last name as you, who came from the same mother or father, under President Trump is no longer asylum. You have to have the connection, the nexus between the ground of the asylum with the harm, and you have to have past harm to past future harm. Unless it's humanitarian asylum where you don't necessarily worry about future, but you still have to worry about past. So even asylum law, there's a lot of laws connected to it. So just based on this question, the question I have for you then is, what's your fear? What's your harm? Do you even carry Mexican temporary, like what we have as a green card? Do you have a passport from Mexico? Because if you're only there on a temporary working visa or undocumented, any harm you suffer to Mexico is not considered asylum ground. Asylum means your own country is hurting you. Even though you lived in Mexico for 18 years, if you were undocumented or just have a working visa or doesn't have a green card and doesn't become a Mexican citizen, then you could not use the Mexican harm as your past harm and future harm. So, for example, in the 40s and 50s, there's a lot of Chinese because of the Chinese civil war between the Chiang Kai shek people and the communist people. They all ran to the Latino countries. There's a lot of Chinese from Venezuela, from Mexico, but they didn't want to get their Venezuelan passport because they want to be Chinese. So they just want to work there, and the children are born, grandchildren are born. So they really never got any permanent or citizenship there. So now, because Venezuela is doing so bad, Brazil is doing so bad, Mexico is doing so bad, can I come to America and get asylum because they are bad? But if I'm not their national, I cannot use their country harm. That's my 2 cents worth. I'm sorry.
Wow, no, that's interesting, Ms. Wong, because uh, we know this new rule of the third country that is probably affecting some people that leave Venezuela or leave Peru they come through Mexico, and then there's a new rule that makes them wait outside of the country. Am I right, Miss Wong?
Yes, you're right. And right now, there's still it's sort of sad because there's a lot of Africans who's passing through Mexico to come to America with female genital mutilation, with really serious harm. And because they came through Mexico, they can if they somehow manage to get through. I'm not saying the ones that were caught. They can only apply for withholding. They can't even do asylum because the law now, as of today, is that if you did not apply asylum from Mexico, you are not entitled to getting asylum in America. You're only entitled. Withholding means that you can still stay in America with the A10 work permit, but every year you pay for it and extend it, but you don't get American green cards. And if the country condition change, you will have to be forced to repatriate. That means you have to go back.
Okay, I understand. And thank you, Miss Wong. Well, our time is gone. It was a very uh, amazing show today, and we just had time enough to ask the questions. So thank you very much, Miss Wong, for your time. Thank you for your answers, for your knowledge. We know next Monday is Labor Day, and probably are you going to take a break that day, or you're gonna still work?
I'll probably come in. It's so nice in our office. We have free coffee. We make fresh coffee, and it's quiet. And then, so it's nice. You read your law because every Friday, as I said, a law clerk always print me all my research for the week, so I get to read it. I read our winning cases, and I read our losing cases, and I get very angry, and I start calling our lawyers. Say, why do we lose this case? Or how do we win that case? And they say you're never happy. You win, you want to ask why. I mean, how could we do better on the second case? If we lose, I died. So it's hard, but it's fun. It's nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's passion, Miss Wong, and thank you so much. And well, I hope you have a nice weekend. We know still, and by the way, there was a very good uh, thing this week that you started seeing people in person in the office in
Yes.
Cleveland. How was it yesterday?
It was wonderful. We have shields on, we have masks on, because our second floor, we're pretty, we have I shouldn't say quite a lot, but we have few people working here still in the office. And one of us gets sick, the whole second floor has to be closed down. So we couldn't afford that. So we're very, very careful. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So if you want to do a consultation with Miss Wong, just give us a call 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984, and our WhatsApp number is 678-650-1248, and you can text us and we will answer your questions. Thank you very much, Miss Wong.
Thank you.
See you next time.